Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're diving into an epic, almost comic book level story. We're talking an invisible superpower, massive spinning machinery, and a literal clash of super geniuses. We're going to break down exactly how electricity is generated and how the infamous, kind of cartoonish rivalry between alternating current and direct current quite literally built the modern world. I mean, think about it. You walk into a dark room, you flip a switch, and bam! It's so instant we don't even think twice about it. But the second you flip that switch, this incredible, invisible magic happens. Electrons just rush through a wire, pushing energy to a bulb, and the room lights up. But where does that power actually come from? Well, to figure out this everyday superpower, we gotta flip back a few pages in our history book. Section 1. The Origin Story. From amber to batteries.
Okay, so for most of human history, electricity was basically treated like a parlor trick. The ancient Greeks realized rubbing a piece of amber created this weird static pull. Fast forward to the 1700s, and you've got Benjamin Franklin proving that massive, terrifying lightning bolts in the sky are the exact same stuff as those tiny static sparks on the ground. But the real game changer? That hits in 1800, when Alessandro Volta builds the very first battery. Suddenly, we aren't just watching brief sparks, we've literally bottled lightning. And that leads straight to 1820, when Hans Christian Ørsted figures out that an electric current actually creates a magnetic field. The plot thickens, right?
Enter the hero of our scientific saga, Michael Faraday. In 1831, Faraday looks at Ørsted's idea and just flips it entirely upside down. He thought, hey, if electricity makes magnetism, can magnetism make electricity? And spoiler alert, yes. He discovered that moving a magnet near a wire, or a wire near a magnet, generates an electric current. It's called electromagnetic induction. Definitely remember that term, because this one brilliant simple concept is the bedrock of almost all power generation on the planet today. To prove it, Faraday whipped up this incredibly simple gadget, basically just a copper disc spinning between two magnets. And as it spun, it cranked out a small but perfectly steady electric current. Now, sure, it looks super crude to us today, kind of like a toy you'd find in a cereal box. But make no mistake, this was effectively the world's very first electric generator. The code was cracked. Which brings us to Section 2, the War of Currents, a clash of super geniuses.
All right, setting the scene. In one corner, we have Thomas Edison. He's building the first commercial power stations using direct current, or DC. Now, DC flows steadily in one single direction. Picture water flowing smoothly through a pipe. Great for early light bulbs, but it had a fatal flaw: terrible range. You literally had to build a power plant every mile or so because the energy just fizzled out over distance. But in the opposing corner, his former employee turned arch-rival, the brilliant Nikola Tesla. Teaming up with George Westinghouse, Tesla pushed alternating current, or AC. Instead of a one-way flow, AC rapidly sloshes back and forth, and thanks to a clever little device called a transformer, AC voltage could be stepped up incredibly high, meaning it could sprint across enormous distances without dropping its power.
Well, Edison wasn't about to lose his electrical empire quietly. He went full supervillain on this. He launched a massive, dramatic fear campaign using some wildly aggressive marketing tactics. He tried to convince everyone that AC was this deadly, uncontrollable threat, going as far as staging grim public demonstrations with animals just to scare people away from Tesla and Westinghouse's system. It was dark, highly competitive, and straight out of a comic book. But as they say, physics eventually wins out over marketing. No matter how many scare tactics Edison threw at the wall, AC's unbelievable long-distance efficiency just made it the absolute clear choice for powering whole nations. One plant could power an entire region, not just a couple of city blocks. So by the early 1900s, alternating current had decisively won the grid, becoming the global standard we're still using today. Moving on to Section 3, inside a modern powerhouse, scaling up Faraday. So almost every modern power plant on Earth uses the exact same four-step chain reaction. Step 1, you use some massive force, like intense heat or rushing water, to spin a giant turbine. Step 2, that turbine is physically hooked up to a generator, spinning it around. Step 3, inside that generator, huge magnets are whipping past massive coils of wire. And step 4, just like Faraday showed us, that relative motion induces a massive electric current. Motion creates a magnetic change, and that change creates electricity. It's beautiful. And here's the crazy part. Whether we're burning coal, natural gas, or using nuclear fission, literally all we are doing is boiling water to make high-pressure steam to spin that turbine.
Hydroelectric dams, just using falling water to spin it. Wind farms, using moving air to spin it. They are completely different fuels, but at the end of the day, they are all just different ways to accomplish the exact same cartoonish feat, making a giant magnet spin past a wire. Now, I should point out the one major exception to the spinning magnet rule: photovoltaic solar panels. These guys generate electricity directly from sunlight using a totally different chemical reaction, no spinning parts whatsoever. But for basically everything else on the grid, yeah, it's just giant spinning magnets.
Speaking of the grid, let's look at Section 4, the grid we built, the journey to your outlet.
Getting that power to you is a highly structured journey. First, the alternating current enters the grid. Then, using those transformers Tesla loves so much, the voltage gets stepped way, way up. We're talking hundreds of thousands of volts. This lets the electricity absolutely sprint across hundreds of miles of transmission lines with almost zero energy loss. Finally, as it hits your neighborhood, local transformers step that crazy voltage back down to a safe, usable level right before it flows into your home's wall socket. It is a perfectly choreographed, high-speed delivery system.
Which brings us to Section 5, the twist conclusion. DC strikes back. Because every good comic book arc needs a twist ending, right? You're probably thinking Edison and his direct current were just totally wiped out. Well, not quite. Direct current never died. In fact, it's literally in your pocket right now. All our modern electronics, phones, laptops, tablets, they all run internally on DC. You know that chunky block on your laptop charger? That's actually a mini transformer, turning the AC from your wall into the steady DC your computer craves. And even wilder, high-voltage DC is making a massive global comeback for ultra-long underwater transmission cables. Edison's tech is striking back in a big way in the 21st century.
So, the final score? It's perfectly balanced. Tesla's AC undeniably won the massive electrical grid, but Edison's DC completely conquered our modern personal electronics. In this beautiful twist of scientific fate, both of these warring super geniuses ended up being absolutely right. They just designed the perfect solutions for two completely different scales.
So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you walk into a dark room and casually flip that switch, are you just going to see a light bulb? Or are you going to see the invisible chain behind it? That epic chain linking a spinning turbine, massive magnets, electrons racing hundreds of miles, and a rule of physics uncovered in a London lab almost 2 centuries ago. It literally is an invisible superpower we wield every single day. If you found this breakdown as fun as I did, hit subscribe for more explainers on the wild science quietly running our world. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.